Hi, my name is Ryan Handel, co-founder and CEO of FIXE. I started FIXE about 6 years ago in order to streamline and automate bookkeeping for restaurants, trying to give restaurants the best value possible. I want to talk about some of the most important things that I would never do as a bookkeeper. So here are the 4 things I would never do as a bookkeeper when servicing our customers here at FIXE. 1 is I would never encourage clients to look at their P&Ls in a cash basis. They should be looking at them in an accrual basis. We own restaurants. We operate restaurants. We pay our vendors on 30, 45, 60-day terms, right? But the day that the invoice comes in, that is when we need to recognize that expense, not when we pay that invoice. There are some exceptions to this. If you're a catering company and you have a lot of accounts receivable where you're billing for invoices far in advance, but you're not collecting the money, that's a different story. However, I will say that if you're a restaurant, you're getting that money in daily from your POS system, and you're paying it out at a further point in time, but you need to look on how your restaurant is performing over that certain amount of time, and you can only do that in an accrual basis. Number 2, I would never treat tips or sales tax or gratuity collected as part of your P&L. They should always be on your balance sheet. Granted, nowadays, more and more bookkeepers that we see are treating this correctly, but sometimes I do see bookkeepers who don't really know what they're doing with respect to the restaurant industry, and they're treating it as a function of sales. Yes, are you collecting that cash? But no, it's not income. It's not stuff that you're using to make your restaurant perform better. It's a balance sheet related function. It's money you're collecting that you're eventually paying back out in 2 weeks' time for tips or a month when it comes to sales tax. Don't treat that as sales or as income. Often CPAs will say,
"Hey, this should move over here."
and they're asking that because it makes their life a little bit easier. I get it. They're looking at it from a tax standpoint, but ultimately your bookkeeper should be aggregating information in order to better help you run your restaurant. Those particular functionalities, those do not help you run your restaurant better. It's a balance sheet functionality. So I encourage you to look at your P&Ls in order to better run your restaurant, in order to help you make the right decisions, not from a tax standpoint. Number 3, I would relentlessly use all resources available to me to exhaust all forms of technology in order to better assist in the bookkeeping. The main reason we started FIXE is because I was sick of bookkeepers being stuck in their ways, not being up to date with the latest inventions when it comes to restaurant bookkeeping. And if you are a bookkeeper and you're not taking advantage of the most up-to-date technology, the latest software, or you're using an excuse that
"I don't want to pay a monthly fee. I'd rather just use the software that I already had."
that is wrong. At FIXE, we try to provide the best-in-class software for our clients. We really try hard and vouch for all of the technology that we provide, including our own dashboard. We also use technology behind the scenes in order to automate things more for our account managers. If you're using a bookkeeper that doesn't believe in that same mindset, they're not from this century, right? They really need to be updated, or you need to move to a new solution. Number 4, the last thing, is I would never assume that the systems we're inheriting were set up perfectly. Let me give you an example. We always ask our customers that we need access to your POS system. We're very knowledgeable in restaurant POS systems. Part of the reasons people hire us is because of our industry expertise. And even though we will not go into the POS and adjust it on behalf of the client, we will strongly suggest, hey, we think this is set up incorrectly. A lot of the times bookkeepers will just inherit whatever's in the POS system and try to make it work and try to put the numbers wherever they deem possible. But the truth is, there has to be some back and forth, especially when it comes to a new restaurateur. We try to provide the feedback that says, hey, the sales category might be coming in incorrectly, or you categorize something differently in the POS. Please be aware, double check, don't just assume everything is set up correctly. So again, to recap, 1, you should always be looking at your P&Ls on an accrual basis. 2, you should not treat balance sheet related items such as sales tax and tips payable as something that is on your P&L. that is very specific to our industry, and they should be living on your balance sheet. 3, relentlessly exhaust all forms of technology to make sure you're using the best one available. And 4, don't assume everything is set up correctly from the client standpoint. It requires a back and forth, and make sure you're going into the POS and advising the client, hey, this might need to be set up a little bit differently. I hope this was helpful to you. Obviously, these are our own thoughts on how we run FIXE, but ultimately they're important to us. If you think we're full of crap, please leave a message down below, click subscribe. Talk to you again soon. Thanks. If you've made it this far in the video, we'd love to hear from you. At the very least, if you can comment with a green heart down below, that would be awesome. That way we know that there's a back and forth in these videos that we're posting. Thanks again.